Welcome to the Digital Marketing Insights podcast, brought to you by Brightside Digital.
Hi everyone, welcome to the show. I'm delighted to say we have Lindsay today with us, who is the host of the Passive Income Examiner podcast. Lindsay, how are you doing?
I'm so good. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm excited to be here.
It's a real pleasure, and thank you so much for saying yes. Lindsay, I start off the show, first of all, by asking you if you could tell a little bit about your career today and your history.
Definitely. Well, my name's Lindsay Sutherland, and well, anytime someone asks me about myself, being a mom comes to mind because it's like my number one job. But, but beyond that, I spent a lot of years in digital marketing, sales specifically in the automotive industry, is where I spent 20 years of my career learning about business, marketing, sales, buyer psychology, all of that fun stuff. And then I kind of took that on my own, ended up working with a log cabin company and really taking over their marketing, which they're now one of my clients, but they were my employer when I first moved up here to Idaho. And like you, I've gone on that journey of where I've moved myself from working for somebody else into working for myself and having my own clients and doing my own thing. And today, as the host of the Passive Income Examiner podcast, it's my pleasure to meet amazing people like yourself who get to come on my show. And I learned so much. I get to try new things all the time. So that's basically what my life is about right now, is just learning about passive income and really creating a lifestyle for myself and my family that we love.
Brilliant. And obviously, you touched on a little bit there, but what would you see as your main strength in digital at the moment?
Definitely the podcast is my primary strength from a marketing perspective. It's something I started because I am not a huge fan of social media. Personally, I just don't really jive with that. And also, between you, me, and the fence post, I do not like to wear a lot of makeup. So I moved up here to North Idaho because I like the rugged outdoors, and that's just kind of who I am. And I was going to start a YouTube channel. That was my first thought. But then I thought, man, I just don't want to get all dolled up for the camera. So a podcast is what popped up in my mind as my second avenue. But really applying a solid SEO strategy has been really effective. When I do some Google research on specific search phrases that people are looking for, and I tie that into my podcast episodes, those are by far my biggest downloaded episodes. So that's been my number one strategy.
Obviously, the podcast itself, but is there any particular campaign or work that you've done that's been really successful or you've been really proud of?
So what I love about podcasting is it's organic, it's free, essentially. It's one of the most efficient strategies cost wise, right? When we're talking about cost out. It doesn't require a lot to get started. And once you get it going, it's kind of builds on itself. But when you take podcasting and you start adding to that podcast guesting, right? Now your content is living forever. And that's what I love about podcasts. And what's been really effective for me is using textiful.com. So that is a website. It's cost me $15 a month, which is cheap compared to so many of these other platforms out there. And really what I do is, like, when I go on episodes, I'll say, hey, I offer a freebie to all of your listeners. You could text the word PIE, PIE, to 33777 and get your copy of 5 ways to earn 5K a month with passive income. And it's a freebie that I give out on these podcasts I go on. And what I've learned, what I've been checking, I mean, every day I'm getting downloads every day. And I don't market this anywhere else. I'm not doing any other strategy to generate emails other than podcast guesting and creating my own podcast and putting this text number out there. And I have doubled my downloads
Wow,
just with this one strategy.
that's incredible. And Texaful, it looks like a very intuitive software. How difficult is it to get set up and get integrated or start using it?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's actually pretty easy. It walks you through. What I love about it is it even connects right with Zapier. So it all when somebody texts in their information, and I could tell it that I require a name because I use Kajabi as my primary CRM. So I have it set up so that when someone texts in, they get the download and everything automatically moves over to Kajabi for me. So when I go to do my email marketing, it's all there. I don't have to fiddle around and transfer names and all that jazz. It's all there for me.
That is brilliant. Is there any particular softwares away from Textful that you use that has enhanced your podcasting or working life?
The only other one that I am a huge fan of is Kajabi. I would say it's probably a mistake. We all make mistakes, but it was a learning lesson, let's say that, because in my mind, there's really nothing that you can do that's wrong. You just simply pivot and move on. So when I got started with my podcast, I hired a podcast coach and I did everything my podcast coach said down to the wire. She said to use Get Response, I used Get Response. She said to use, Podbean for my syndication, I used Podbean. I literally just did whatever she said. I'm like, I'm not reinventing the wheel. Then, about 6 to 8 months later, after doing this, I was struggling with um, Get Response. I don't know why, because I'm a pretty tech savvy person. And when it comes to software, I am like easy. I pick it up easily. And so for some reason, this was just mind numbing. I felt like every time I was going in there, I was having to relearn it. But here's the bummer. I built out all my landing pages. I had so many things already set up in there because I'd been using it. And I wish, and this is the tip for everybody, I wish I would have just done a little bit more research before drinking her Kool-Aid, so to speak, because I eventually ended up switching to Kajabi because Kajabi did everything all in one platform where I don't have to patchwork quilt my whole thing and put things together and have a, Thrive cart that merges with my this. And it was just getting like out of control, trying to keep all these passwords and connecting this and that. So for me, even though Kajabi was a little bit more money at that time, I was thinking big picture and I thought, I just want this to be seamless and I want to grow and I don't want to have to change later on because when I did, all of my original podcasts that link to the Get Response landing pages are no longer any good. So that's a disappointing thing. You want to be able to think about that from the end when you're building your business. And so if you need a CRM that can do it all, I strongly do encourage you to get something like Kajabi if you don't get Kajabi itself.
Looking at yourself for a second, is there any areas you're looking to upskill into and why?
Yeah, so I'm kind of a little bit like you in a way. I really dig and kind of dig by dig. I mean, I geek out on it. SEO stuff. When I look at like internet strategy and how to kind of find that sweet spot online that can generate traffic, it's a thrill for me. It's kind of like a chase. It's fun. And because of that, I have this course I'm working on where I will help people who specialize in a general area. So let's say it's a marketer or a wellness coach or something like that, where it's very broad. So let me give you an example of where this came from. I have a friend of mine who does SRT therapy. I forgot what SRT stands for. It's like sacral something therapy. Basically, it's like tapping and all this different kind of new age holistic way of helping people cure problems. And she has helped people quit smoking. She's helped people lose weight. She's helped people uh, kill these habits that they've had for years and years and years. When she came to me, she wanted help marketing. And she said, we talked about who her ideal client is. And the answer was, well, anybody who has an addiction. And that's such a broad thing. And, you being a marketer, you're over there like, yeah, I see where she's coming from on that. And so I thought, if she had these micro businesses, these like mini courses where she's teaching people how to solve these specific problems that she has proven methods for, because that's what people are searching for, right? They're not searching for an SRT therapist. They're searching for how to cure my smoking craving, right?
Yeah.
So putting out these
Yeah.
micro courses and teaching her how to build that out really got me excited. And so that's what I'm working on, is a full course teaching people how to build out micro businesses for their broader business, so to speak, and use it to generate an additional revenue stream for their business.
I love the concept. It's a great idea. Yeah, and I'm sure it'd be hugely successful if you involved, Lindsay. Um, Looking at your upskilling work, is there any kind of publications or any websites you go to for information?
I mean, I have to say nothing specific. I Google my question and then I go through the answers, but I also take courses on Google. I don't know if people know that, but Google has courses for free if you want to learn about SEO, or any of these marketing strategies to learn to play in the space of Google, to understand it. They offer digital online courses. Some of them are paid, but a lot of them are free. And I find those to be really, really effective for learning how to be a good marketer.
The things I love about the Google ones is they're presented so well and they are developed in a way that they're very user friendly. They're not easy. They're actually not that easy, but yeah, they are a wonderful platform for learning.
Yeah, and you can actually get certified through there if you do want to. You could pay for certification, which I think is pretty cool. And that's one actually really nice thing about the digital space is you can come into this with very little knowledge or experience and just have a curiosity mindset and spend your time educating yourself. And before you know it, you'll be head and shoulders above other people in this industry in a lot of ways. But also, you can find something that you really are good at and really hone in on that if you want to. And I just think it's such a neat thing. The information is so available.
You're completely right. If you have the determination to learn, the Code Academy, I started playing around with that, and I was impressed with what I knew. But it's almost gamification nowadays. They've all taken that kind of Duolingo approach where it's quite fun and interactive to learn nowadays. So it's a great way of spending half an hour rather than mindlessly flicking through social media or something. Um,
Yes.
Looking at the digital industry as a whole, Lindsay, is there anything that really excites you that might be coming down the pipeline?
I mean, looking at the digital industry as a whole, I mean, I find it all interesting. That's the truth. I mean, the AI software, we were talking a little bit about that on my podcast. To me, I mean, I know it isn't totally new and revolutionary, but it's getting better all the time, which is what is so exciting. And all of the new, like, the twists that these companies are taking with their different approaches. Some of them are very focused on SEO, others are helping you with titles, others can repurpose your content and make it better. I mean, it's really fascinating and it's such a time saver. I guess, in my opinion, any sort of tech that can make something streamlined or save me time is my favorite.
Yeah, I'm completely with you in that. Automation is key. Um, Lastly, Lindsay, we always ask the same question at the end of the show, which is if you could bottle up one personality trait that you have yourself and that you could pass on to others, what would it be?
Okay, this is a personality trait that I seem to have that other people wish they had. And I don't know even where I got this. It could just be my age. I don't know. But I have this ability to learn software almost intuitively, if that makes sense. Not, I'll have to say my kids are even better than me. They can pick up a phone and like the next, they're experts. But that has been something that has given me an edge in everything I do. I've had companies, I've worked a lot with CRMs and helping companies build out their CRMs and set up the automations. And I don't seem to ever really get stuck. I can figure it out pretty much inside and out within a very short period of time and then be that person that's there to answer their question. And that's just a gift I've always had. And I think other people would appreciate something like that as well.
Brilliant. What a beautiful way to end the show. Lindsay, thank you so much for being part of the Digital Marketing Insights podcast. And yeah, I've just loved getting to know you and everything you've had to say.
Thanks so much. It's been a pleasure.